All right, guys, let me share my screen so you guys can see. Okay, so a couple announcements, guys. Hopefully you saw that we did announce our team retreat next year, 2020, that it will be connected to Disney World. The entire downline has a chance to earn it. So make sure you go into the new and improved Important Teen Fit Addicted group, look at the announcements. I have it pinned up there. You'll be able to see the different requirements to earn it and just start hustling towards it, okay? Announcement number 2, I wanted to show you guys in the Coach Online office. I just got off the phone call with one of my newer coaches, and she said, oh my gosh, the new resources that they put together for new coaches are amazing. She said they're so helpful, they're so thorough. So if you go in your Coach Online office, you guys, which is teambeachbody.com, and then click on your Coach Online office, you're gonna see something like this, okay? Go to training, go to getting started, okay? And there are 5 videos. Is it gonna open up or is it gonna go real slow? It looks like it wants to go slow. Okay, but there's 5 videos that you and your coaches are gonna go, oh man, it's gonna make me log in. That sucks. Well, I'm not gonna show you guys because that'll take a second. But there's 5 videos that you can go into and find, information on and have your coaches check it out, okay? Because it's super duper helpful for them to get those videos done ASAP. It shows them how to do like the My Challenge Tracker app. It shows them how to do Share Card. It shows them how to do all the things that they need to do at the beginning of their business, okay? All right, now we're gonna go over the leaders for the first week of October, okay? We got top successful runners, Mike Kozlowski and Meg Thomas. It's the Meg Club this week. Top recruiters, we have Kitty Hamilton, who is a brand new coach, you guys. She literally just signed up a couple weeks ago. Super proud of you, Kitty. And Corey Bankowski. And they had one coach sign up last week. Our rank advancements, Kitty hit Emerald. Lindsay Yates hit Emerald. And then Brandy, right now, I think I said that right now. Yes, also hit Emerald. So amazing job, you guys. Amazing start to Emerald. Where do we find this information? Please make sure you check out the poll in the new and improved Important Teen Fit Addicted group on Thursdays, okay? So when you sign up a coach, look for that poll on Thursday so that you can let us know. When you rank advanced for the first time to hit a new rank, go there and make sure that you let us know on that poll. From Thursday to Monday, you have a chance to update that poll, okay? Tuesday morning, we put together these slides so that we have them for the team call, okay? So it's gonna be most up to date on whatever you put up Monday, okay? So those are all the announcements, guys. I'm gonna hand it over to Megan. I'm excited to have Megan Thomas as our guest speaker tonight. Her and I, to be honest, we were like, we don't know what we're gonna talk about this week. And on Monday, Megan was like, I'll step up and talk. I was like, yes, I would. I love listening to Megan talk. And so we were talking about topics, and she said, I feel really passionate about this topic of blooming where you're planted. And I thought that would be so powerful, especially at this time of the year when we all feel like we're running around with chickens with our heads cut off, right? Like we have to get everything ready for the holidays. We have to make sure that we have just everything. Everything's crazy, right? And Megan knows what she's doing, you guys. She's been a coach for a couple of years. She is a 2-star diamond leader on our team, newlywed. And like if you watch her on Instagram stories as well as her Instagram and Facebook,
Whoa!
Whoa! They're celebrating you, Megan. She just knows what she's doing. Okay, so I'm very excited to hear from Megan tonight, and I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to hand it over to you. Oh, wait. There we go. There we go.
Thanks, Meg.
Yep.
So I'm so excited to chat with you guys. This has been on my heart for a really long time, probably because it's really how my own journey began and how I started building my business. It's actually been over 5 years now. But when I think back to when I started in different seasons in my journey, and as I talk to coaches who are a part of my team, we talk a lot about these limiting beliefs. And I think the answer to these 3 specific limiting beliefs is blooming where you're planted. Mm-hmm. So you guys can relate to this. Let me know if it resonates with you. But the first one would be lack of time. Number 2, the lack of influence. And number 3, the lack of content. Okay. So I learned how to grow my business from the very beginning from growing and blooming where I was planted. And it's looked different in different seasons of my life, but I'm going to share with you guys specific examples of how I grew right where I was, not dependent on waiting on social media to grow or finding builders or all the things that we kind of tell ourselves of why we can't get somewhere, why we can't hit a certain goal, why we're just kind of waiting for the magic thing to click. And there's so many things that you could take advantage of that are valuable, like right in front of you right now. So I'm going to kind of take this back 5 years ago when I started. I'm a retired nurse now. It's weird to say that I'm retired, but I left nursing and have no plans of going back. It's been about a year of being a full-time coach, but 5 years ago, I didn't even really have a vision of that because I was just getting started. I didn't know what this opportunity could lead to. I was an RN. I was working 12, 14, 16 hours a day, picking up overtime as much as I could. So sometimes it was 3 shifts, 4 shifts, 5 shifts. I was just trying to work as much as possible. So my days were long and they were exhausting. So if I had a day off, I wanted to rest. So if you're somebody who's working full time or you have a very demanding job, I totally hear you. The other part is I had 200 friends on Facebook. I didn't have Instagram. I think just eliminated a bunch of people from Facebook being like, people don't need to know about my life. And then I found coaching and I was like, people need to know about my life, and trying to like reverse that. But even like the people who I was connecting with, family wasn't joining me other than my mom, who's a rock star and has been my accountability like since day one. And I love her for that. But it wasn't like I had a bunch of friends who were saying, yeah, let's do this together, family, let's do this together. No, that wasn't it. And I hadn't read a book, definitely not personal development, in probably over 5 years, like maybe high school. And I probably didn't, you read the Cliff Notes. Like that was my jam. I was not a reader and I thought personal development was silly. So here I was, lack of time, lack of influence, and lack of content. How the heck can I encourage? How the heck can I share? Like personal growth and pouring into other people, I wasn't equipped for it. So I started helping people month 1, helping more than 3 people every single month. How in the world did I do that when I had those limiting factors right in front of me? And it was really starting to grow where I was planted. So I think so often it's interesting if you guys listened to the training last week. If you didn't with Emily, she's amazing and you should definitely catch the recording. But this kind of goes hand in hand with it in the sense that she spoke so much on social media. I'm going to kind of challenge you to look beyond social media, because the things that you're a part of, the lives that you're a part of, all the roles that you play, that is value. So when I first started, I just started sharing my journey and living it out loud every single day at work. I didn't really have a huge social life. I didn't really have a big network. I wasn't part of a lot of groups, but I did go to work and I was there for a very long time each day. And while I struggled with my own nutrition and fitness, so did the majority of nurses and other healthcare professionals around me. So when I started making changes, I thought, well, why not just make these changes kind of publicly? And I started making a plan. So maybe you're somebody who can resonate with this, maybe you can't, but I hope that you guys, after this call, at least develop some type of plan that works for you. You have to have a plan, or else before you know it, the week's gone and you maybe shared one time. But implementing a plan that's going to work for you, your family, and your schedule is so important. And it doesn't have to look like mine. It doesn't have to look like Meg's. It doesn't have to look like Haley's or anybody else's on this team. But the one thing that is consistent across the board in the last 5 years for me is there's been 2 things that I've done in every season: personal development and sharing my journey out loud. I didn't always invite. I didn't always do a power hour. I didn't always do a lot of things, but every day I showed up and was essentially like a product of the product every single day at work and on social media. So here's like kind of an example: 12, 14, 16-hour day. I was waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had a 40-minute commute. And maybe I got a lunch break and my first pee break by 2 p.m. And then I was going to head home around like 8 p.m., 7:30, 8 p.m. So it was like all hands on deck. You're taking care of patients all day long. There wasn't a lot of downtime. So I had a plan to make a post first thing in the morning, which probably came from my personal development that I was listening to on the way to work, or it was at the end of the night where I could share something about my journey so that I was adding value to people. And even if I dropped the ball all day and it was awful, I was able to say, this is what I'm going to do to improve tomorrow. Okay, so I'm leaving people with encouragement. I'm showing them that even though your day is crazy, you can still take steps forward. And while I was at work, I used my containers. I walked into work every single day with my Shakeology cup, and I got involved. I kind of made myself the person to ask, and nobody like deemed me this by any means. I created it, and I created it like in every job that I worked, that I was like, I'm going to be the health coach here. I'm going to be the person that encourages other people. And I started taking initiative because it was donuts and cookies and parties and all this stuff. And I wanted to start to try to influence. I wanted to start to take what we do in our challenge groups and do it in person, but it's free. I'm not asking anything. I just wanted to create an opportunity where maybe people would seek me out on social media and see what I'm doing. Maybe we could have a sidebar conversation, because I know with like a lot of businesses, and the hospital was the same. You're not there to sell. You're not there to push things. And like a lot of companies have rules against that, but you want to become the person that they say, yeah, I'm going to go to her. If I'm struggling and I just need a girl to lift my spirits, yeah, I'm going to go to Kristen. You know, if I need somebody to celebrate my workout that I did this morning, I'm going to go to Caitlin. You know, make yourself that person and like put your own title on, essentially. So here's a couple things I started doing. And in the beginning, people thought I was like, I'm sure people were probably talking bad about me, and I started to feel it, but guess what? I stuck with it, and that's where the personal development comes in. And very slowly, people started joining me. They started saying, thank you, I appreciate this, da, da, da. And we would do afternoon stair runs, like usually between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then what started to happen was on shifts that I wasn't there, people ran the stairs. They did standing lunges on the platforms. Like, it was starting to spread throughout our unit, growing where you're planted. Like, the fact that they were implementing things that I started when I wasn't even there is like the power of what you can do and the way that you can influence people where you are is just absolutely incredible. On Mondays, we did Motivation Monday. I would put a healthy recipe, which now there's like a million of them on Beachbody On Demand, is like print one off and put it in like the nourishment room or your break room or wherever it is. Serve people like a wealth of just like encouragement and information. Basically, what you're doing on social media, like do it in real life too. Another really good example that I had, what did I do? I did an email. So I would collect people's emails, and when I moved to a different job, I signed up for a wellness champion. I didn't really want to, but I kind of wanted to, like for different reasons. It's because we're a coach. We're always a coach. You're going to be the person that's lifting other people up and encouraging them. And what you'll start to find is you're going to be the person that they seek out. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just nurses or wherever, but they wouldn't publicly say things, but I was getting messages from them on Facebook. I was getting pulled aside. Hey, can you tell me more about this? Can you tell me more about this group? And it wasn't because I was screaming Beachbody. It was because I was doing something that was attracting them to change, and I was being proof of how it was transforming me. I'm sure that they were like, her energy, her mood, her positivity, all of those things are changing. And every lunch break, they saw me using those containers. And it was an opportunity for conversation. So just being able to pour into the people around you is such an opportunity. It doesn't matter where you are. And maybe you're not working full time or working at all. Maybe you're at home. Like, you have those opportunities in your community too. And we'll talk a little bit about that later in this seasons of life and how I'm having to do that now. But essentially from the beginning, people who started joining me, most of them are people that I worked with. And then that started to evolve, and my social media presence started to change as my goals changed. Okay. So in the beginning, it was on days that I worked, I pretty much just worked on myself. I stuck with my journey because that is always the most important. And we can't help other people or encourage other people if we're not doing it for ourselves. So it was my journey, one social media post. And for me, that's all I could do on those days. And I had to give myself permission for that. But that meant that on the day that I wasn't working, that I had a plan. And I didn't have the awesome tracker, like the checklist that we do now, but I did the vital behaviors, and it was inviting, and I did more numbers and so forth. So I was still asking, but it certainly wasn't super consistent. And I knew that if I wanted to grow beyond that, that would have to change. But for those seasons of just hitting Success Club, building to Emerald, building to Diamond even, as long as I was able to put myself out there and invite people around me in person, it kind of took the adding to my network on the computer and inviting. It was just, I was doing it in person instead. Okay. And the important part about making sure that your posts are up there every day, even if it's just one, is that when people in your community or work or school or wherever you are find you on social media, they need to see that evidence, okay? Because we think that people know. They don't. If they see it one time, they're not going to know. I was so consistent with my Shakeology that I had 2 girls, I remember, because it didn't happen a ton, but 2 girls stopped me in the elevator in the course of this 3 years. So again, not huge, but the fact that they noticed that I was drinking something in the morning. I found out when their next shift was, and I brought them some Shakeology packets to try, and then they became clients of mine. All because I was just proof of the product, and I was consistent with that, and I wasn't ashamed of it, and I was just like, yep, it's done this, and it just opens up doors. And I think that we forget that. We get so stuck in this checklist. I'm going to work for 30 minutes. I'm going to work for an hour. But you're a coach all day. You can lift up and encourage people all day long. Find those opportunities. Even if you're going into the store, you're going to all these different places, your face should be kind of consistent and familiar to people. Take your shake with you, have your water with you. Just leave those little kind of breadcrumbs that kind of screams you're different. And it kind of just, I don't know, in my mind, just creates curiosity and kind of intrigues people to learn a little bit more. And that's where social media really comes into play, is having that place for them to come to really see the full circle of everything. Okay. So that's a little bit about my story. I've been able to transition, which has been incredible. And now I am working full time. Lack of time isn't really an issue. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. We have no children and not really a lot of obligations. So I understand that's a blessing, and that is a season of it's just going to be a season. But lack of time isn't really an issue for me, but influence and content and how to use my time really became a thing for me this past year. It's important to recognize that as our goals evolve, our actions must as well. So like I shared in the beginning, doing those minimums, I stayed where I was. I plateaued, guys, for years. And if that's what you want to do and you want to maintain that, that's great. It created great financial margin for me. And I made those non-negotiables of Success Club every single month because I was okay with that. But then there was a point that I wasn't, and I needed to level up, and my action needed to reflect that. So even before I retired, because I knew I wanted to work towards that, I started working every single morning before I went to the hospital. I had an accountability partner within our team, and I did not enjoy waking up at 4:30 in the morning, but I also didn't want to be a nurse until I was 65 and working 12-hour shifts. Like, there's got to be something. I was like, I know that this sacrifice is going to be worth it. So my why was really powerful, and having an accountability partner, knowing that she was going to be there and when she was expecting me was exactly what I needed. So we worked every single morning, doing a power hour, still living out our journeys. I connected with people at the hospital, again, like became the wellness champion. On lunch breaks, I was reading personal development, like all of the things that make up coaching, trickle those things in so people start to see a difference. All right. So that's kind of how I transitioned into that middle part of making my power hour more intentional. And then it was Success Club 10. Then it was helping my team succeed so that they go Emerald and they're hitting Success Club. You see how that changes? Like, your actions have to change, your belief and your mindset has to change if you're going to elevate yourself and you want to see this grow like beyond what you maybe ever imagined or dreamed. So it's important to recognize that. And like Rachel Hollis says, what got you here won't get you there. And that is epically true. So now I have a ton of time, but I didn't really have the influence. I was looking at my Instagram, and I don't know about y'all, but I cannot freaking figure that thing out for the life of me. And it is slow growing, but I'm not giving up. I'm tweaking, I'm learning. That training last week was really, really instrumental. But again, this is that part that says, bloom where you're planted. I don't have 20,000 followers, 10,000, 5,000, anything crazy, amazing like that. But guess what? Even if you have that many, or if you have 500, or if you have 200, I want you to be really honest about how many people you actually pour into consistently. Because what I started doing over the last few weeks was not just sending invites, not just connecting, but being really intentional with like 10, 20 minutes of my time. And if you're somebody who, again, you don't have a ton of time, a lack of time is one of those struggles for you right now. If you're in the car with somebody, communication is key, but say, do you mind if I do something for 10 minutes? This is one of the things I want you to do. Okay. So make sure you have that open communication. So they're not like, you're just looking at stories. Like, no, you're being intentional with these stories, but that you're just commenting, sending emojis, all of these things. You're just taking interest in people's lives that have like zero thing to do with a formal invite or introduction. I used to be tried to be really strategic and, hi, I'm Megan and I'm a nurse and all this kind of stuff. I came across your page and the return was very small. Like maybe I'd send 10 and one person would write me back. Changing it now to where it's like, oh my gosh, that's such a good find at Target, or this recipe, or your dog is so cute, or where did you guys go? That wine looks amazing. You know, things like that. That's so easy and so fun. I like my inbox is like, I'll wake up and it's like, oh my gosh, 20 messages. Wow, these people actually responded back. And it's creating that foundation. It's making yourself seen. Like, we need to stop waiting for people to follow us or follow us back or comment on our posts. Like, make yourself be seen. Create that opportunity and open up that door and not wait for them to come find you. So I went into my followers on Instagram and I just started looking at some of their stuff, but especially if they have stories, and I would just start like shooting off little messages, commenting, like being really, really intentional, but also like really informal. And I realized that the majority of those messages I was sending out, I've never talked to any of those people in my life. Like, what a missed opportunity. I have all of these people right here. Same with on Facebook. Facebook grows pretty quickly if you're consistently adding to your network, because you don't have to wait for them to follow you back. They either accept it or they don't. And these opportunities are just like, hey, let me take interest in your life. And the goal is that eventually that's going to transition into your invite and your more formal connection and so forth. But building that relationship and just putting yourself out there is so important. Same with like emails. I've been collecting people's emails, and what I had stopped doing a while ago, I started doing last month, which is a weekly email. I realized for myself I wasn't serving people enough. I wasn't giving them enough free content. I was asking too much and not really providing a lot of really good like content. So what I started doing with my emails, and don't think that like, oh my gosh, I don't have time for that. I take one of my posts and I turn it into an email. Or you can go to Beachbody On Demand, and there's so many recipes, there's so many tips. You can just take those little tools and just send them out in an email. Like allow them to get that free content and kind of explore more. And then like I use MailChimp, which is a free version that I do. But in the bottom, it'll be like a little, or you can do it at the top, but it's, hey, get plugged in my next accountability group. Like, again, you're breadcrumbing those opportunities for them to get plugged in, but you're also giving them that free content. So that's been huge. 2 people have joined in the last 4 weeks. And I think it's because, again, it's consistency and it's pouring out instead of just like me randomly sending an email, which I was really guilty of this, of like every couple months. And it was always like, come join me for a 3-day refresh. Like, serving is such a special part of what we do. And I know for myself, I can really easily skip that sometimes. So I think those emails is a really good place to really have that platform. And I collect them on Instagram and ask people like, hey, drop me your email. Or if I'm talking to someone and they're not interested in a group where they can't afford it right now, I grab their email so that they can constantly get good, like encouraging content from me. But also like there's always that little seed that's hopefully like growing that they see that they're going to say, okay, yeah, I think I am ready. I think I am interested in doing a group. Let's talk. But again, you have to make yourself seen, because if you ask them one time, if you send them an email like I did one time every 2 months, like they're not going to remember you. It's like branding. Like you think of stores that are constantly in your face, and we don't want to be in people's face like that, but you want to be in people's face from I see you, I believe in you, I got you, here's a good recipe, or here's all of those things. Another one's Facebook groups. And I used to not do these because I was like, no, I don't know what my issue was with them, but I was just like, no, I was so focused on just Beachbody. And I was missing these golden opportunities where now I'm a part of groups, and it's not to like invite people to my groups. It's to be seen, is to create those relationships and learn from people and meet people and actually be social. And you'd be so surprised that like before you know it, they're going to start sharing your content in the page if it's like a really good encouragement page or something like that. And now people are going to start following you. And it changes, like, it just gets you exposure so that you don't have to fully depend on just like your account. But we have to put ourselves out there so that somebody says, oh yeah, there's this girl in our group, Megan or Ali or Kristen or Michaela or whomever. And now they're talking about you. I mean, I just already have the opportunity there. So make sure you're getting plugged into Facebook groups. Like if you're somebody who works from home, you're a stay-at-home mom, and you are like, I don't even want to get plugged into like the community or something, like get on, there's like a million mom groups. I'm sure I'm not a mom, but I'm sure there's gotta be, there's like a million mom clubs and stuff like, or dogs or like whatever it is that you love, like get plugged in there on Facebook. You can easily search it. I haven't done any on Instagram, but I know you can do it with like hashtags and stuff. But like, I don't know if you figure it out like efficiently, pass it along, but I have not ventured down there yet. And then we talked about the stories of just like commenting on people's stories and so forth, and not just the same like 20 that are always up on your screen. Like actually go into who's following you and seek them out, build that friendship early on. And then before you know it, like maybe they weren't following you back, you were just following them. Like I've gotten a lot of follows. Like I think that my Instagram is definitely slow growing, but it's definitely seen more growth in the last month than probably the last like 6 months. And it's way more fun. Like it's super genuine. And these girls are actually really awesome. So don't want to miss that. And then socially, and this may have been because I retired and I was at home, my husband was going to work, and I was like, it's kind of lonely here. We moved to a different side of town. I don't really have a lot of friends here. I don't have family here. Like, that was part of my forcing myself to get out and be a part of things, even though that goes like completely against my personality. But it's been a real blessing in my business, but also just like in my heart. Again, it's really important to be known. So like, you go to the same market, you go to the same coffee shop, find out, and Facebook has this, but they have events in your area, you know, like take your kids to different events, go with your significant other, go with your girlfriends, like just get out and meet people. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be. But even like, this girl had asked me to like model some clothes for a boutique, which when like fashion is like, yes, please, thank you, I'd love to try on some clothes. But one of the biggest things was, I was like, what a great opportunity, because she's going to be sharing about me. And it's just more exposure. Again, give yourself those opportunities to be seen. And I know it's a little kind of probably intimidating to do that, but again, even on your stories, when you're tagging, like when you go to a restaurant, tag that restaurant, tag your location. Maybe not exactly when you're there if you don't want to, but later. And then hopefully, if it's kind of like a smaller or like a local restaurant, usually they'll re-tag you. Like they'll post it, and that's more views for you. I try to do it with Sunbasket because we use Sunbasket meals, and those fools never retag my things. So I'm like done trying to shout them out. But if I do like a small restaurant or a local boutique or the yoga shop down the road, like yes, because we're all trying to get connected. We're all growing. Like, let's do it together. So I don't want you guys to miss those opportunities. Okay. So I'll wrap this up, but I want to leave you guys with an action item, because I know I talked about like the lack of time, the lack of influence, the lack of content. I want you to take one of those limiting beliefs that you identify with, one that's best for this season that you're in right now, and choose one way to implement and address like blooming where you're planted. So if you say, I don't have time to work my business most days, or do a power hour consistently every day, yours is going to be, I have time to make my shake in the morning, so I'm definitely going to put it in my Shakeology cup, and I'm going to walk into work every single day, and it's going to sit on my desk, or whatever that is. But like, that's what my husband does every day. That's what I used to do every day. Even when I go to small group with my church on Wednesdays, my lunch, I take my Shakeology in. You know, it's just plant those seeds a little bit. Maybe someone will ask me a question. But just living that out loud. Okay. So that's your assignment. You guys can post it in here, or you can think about it and put it in the team page, like under where Meg had this announcement. But I really encourage you guys to plug into the tracker, because it's incredible. But don't forget, when you're not doing your power hour, that you have so many valuable opportunities right in front of you. Pour in and serve people, and don't be afraid to be bold. And when you say people around me are going to think I'm weird, or like, oh, she's putting recipes up. Like, you know, they like, people make comments or whatever, do a weird voice when they mimic you. That's okay. That's okay, because you're not going to help me retire. You're not going to pay my medical bills. Like, you're not going to do all of the things that this opportunity is going to do. And I think as well, as you start to get that thank you, or people start to see the value in it, like focus on the 99, like not that one person, you know, like don't listen to them. So that's where the personal development comes into play too, and this community. So that's all I got.
That was so great. I love that you, like, one of my favorite things that you pointed out was the informal relationship building, because we all think like it has to be so perfect, and that it has to follow this timeline, and everything is roses and butterflies when you ask them about joining your challenge group or coaching. Guys, like, interact the way that you would normally interact with someone face to face, right? Like, it doesn't have to be like, hi, I'm Meg, and I'm a Beachbody coach, and I noticed that you're following my page, and da 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 da. No, like, if I see someone in the grocery store that has a cute tank top, I'm going to, even my introverted self is going to walk up and say, I'm sorry, your tank top's really cute. Where did you get that from? interact, people, interact. You heard Megan say, like, she's getting more people responding back because that's the way that our world is right now, especially on Instagram stories, you guys. It's meant to be informal. It's meant for you to interact with the person and not have like a full-on conversation, just short, sweet, little comments to them. I also love that you like really focused in on being the billboard for your business. You know, if you have a full-time job, you guys, or you're a stay-at-home mom and whatever, okay, when you're out and about, be you know, share that you're drinking Shakeology. Walk around with your Shakeology cup when you go and pick the kids up or when you're at work. A lot of people get great exposure by just having that Shakeology cup. And then the other thing that you pointed out that I thought was like, I mean, so many good points, was the Beachbody blog. Guys, that thing is money. That thing has so many amazing recipes. Like, anytime I'm looking for a healthy dessert, which is most days, I go onto the Beachbody blog and there are so many different recipes, not just desserts, but like so many different recipes. They have beautiful pictures, you guys. And because you're a Beachbody coach, you can take those pictures. You know, obviously mention that you got it from the Beachbody blog at the bottom of your picture, but they have beautiful graphics that you can grab and share the recipe as well as put it into a newsletter. So many takeaways, you guys. Okay, so I saw Trisha say that she said, what do you do if people are following your stories and are on there every day and have interacted on them but don't see the messages you're sending to them?
They don't see them? You mean like they don't respond to the message?
Yeah, they probably, like, I know for Instagram, right, we can see if people see the message, but I'm assuming Trisha's saying like she's messaging them, but they're not seeing that message.
Honestly, like if I go through, even when I was like just kind of like going through to connect with who I follow that may not follow me back or vice versa, if I've sent someone or engaged with their like stories and so forth a lot and they haven't given me anything back, I actually unfollow them. I'm like, they don't even like appreciate my comment about their champagne. Like, do you even like champagne if you're not going to like be nice to another fellow champagne drinker? But I'm like, you're definitely not my person.
Right.
But I haven't noticed like if someone, you can't really I don't know why they wouldn't be able to see your comment unless they just never go into their messenger. I mean, you can comment on their posts, but I don't know. You can't really, I wouldn't necessarily comment to say like, hey, I sent you a message.
Right. So. Agree. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. And like Megan said, like if a relationship's a two-way street, you know, like if the person is seeing the messages, guys, and not responding, like to me, that kind of rubs me the wrong way if I've sent you a couple messages and you're not responding back to me. So like Megan said, like I most likely will unfollow you because I'm like, I guess I'm trying to date you and you don't really want to. Right? Like it's like a dating relationship, you guys, right? Like you want the interaction happening back and forth. But something else, Trisha, that I've done before is I will say, you know, on my Instagram stories, I'll be like, just so you guys know, like I've been trying to connect and build relationships with you guys, so make sure you're checking your messages, you know, and just see what happens. You know, you might have some people who respond back to that. There was one last thing I wanted to mention. Oh, for this recording, and I'm going to show you guys really quick. Let me share my screen. Because I get these questions all the time, guys, and I want to nip this in the booty. Okay, so team recordings. Every time we do a team call, in our new and improved Important Teens and Addicted group, go into the files, okay? And then you'll see team resources, scripts, this thing, okay? You should all know about this. Hopefully this is not going to run super slow. So you click this. And this has all of our team resources, guys, like so many different scripts, everything, okay? But when you come in here, you're going to go to, come on. Okay, team call recordings. Come on. And then there's going to be something that says Tuesday team call recordings, okay? So it's all right there. The next day, usually by like 3 p.m., I try to do it early in the morning, but you never know with kids, that recording will be up, okay? So if for some reason you didn't get on the team call or you wanted to watch it again or share it with one of your teammates to make sure they saw it or whatever, make sure you got the recording there. Okay, that's where it will be. Last announcement. So next Tuesday is the 15th, right? Yes, I think. Brittany Wright, Allison Clark, and I will be leaving the next day, Wednesday, for leadership. Now I'm going to leave it up to Megan and Jamie if they want to do some kind of like hustle. She's like, oh man, don't make me do another week, right? A hustle or anything, or we might have the team call off next week, give you guys a week off, just because I want to spend some time with my baby and my husband before I head off to Arizona, because family comes first, guys. But stay tuned into our team group to see if we're going to have a team call next week or not. And I think that's it. Megan, anything else that you want to say?
I don't think so.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your heart and sharing these amazing resources and tips, guys, because it's all about action. You know, it truly is about action and just staying consistent and not being afraid to try new things. And Megan is crushing it. Super proud of what you've been able to achieve this year and, you know, being a leader on our team. Guys, thanks for hopping on tonight. We'll talk in the team group. Bye, guys.